Hello everybody and welcome to Jazz Piano Daily number 151. Today we are going to be talking about modal chord voicings. All right, so let's jump over to the sheet music. All right, so first of all, if you want more information on modes, like it says here, just go back to Jazz Piano Daily number 145, and I explained modes in more detail there. So here we go. We have just the C Dorian scale. Pretty simple. You see that it's the second mode of your B flat major scale. Has flat 3, flat 7 in it. Those are the notes. Okay, so C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat, C. Okay, so that's your C Dorian scale. So now when you're trying to create modal voicings, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. Number one is a lot of times those modal voicings are based in quartals or based in fourths, okay? It's kind of like a little bit more of a modern, open kind of sound, like, you know, when you're playing So What or Footprints or any of those modal type of tunes, this is where, you know, you'd be utilizing these quartals, and we're going to dive into this. First of all, let's also talk about, like, what makes a tune modal. So a lot of times modal tunes, they may or may not stay in the mode for a while. So like, you know, in So What, you know, it goes the D Dorian to the E flat Dorian. Footprints, though, however, which we're going to be using in the next couple of lessons, uses the Dorian scale in the melody. But not all of the chords are found in the Dorian scale. So you might find that sometimes a modal tune kind of uses a mode for a little while and then goes and uses a different mode. The other thing that you'll often find in modal tunes is that you will stick on one chord for a while. So if I just take a quick peek here and I show you Footprints, right? Take a look at, you could see, I know it's probably hard to see from here, but you could see that it's C minor for 8 measures, F minor for 4, C minor for another 4, and then another C minor down there for 4. Right? So, I mean, you end up getting that C minor chord for quite a while. All right, so then why am I mentioning this? What do you do with it? Well, your chord voicings are going to be super important because if you only have one C minor chord voicing, right, like your rootless voicing, it's going to get old after a while, right, just playing that same voicing over and over again. Sorry for the interruption. Just wanted to let you know that the free Jazz Piano Daily videos will be coming to an end shortly on YouTube. All right, they will still be available for members at Jazz Piano Daily. And if you'd like to learn the piano and increase your piano skills in multiple styles, but really also jazz piano, I would check out jazzpianodaily.com. It is my most economical site, and I have made it so that it won't break the bank for most students, right? So if you want a cost-effective solution to be able to learn jazz piano and piano in general, and you want a nice structured approach, then I would check out Jazz Piano Daily. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the lessons. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to build some of these chordal voicings. What I want you to also keep in mind is that you could really build voicings just out of the scale itself, all right? I'm not sure if we're going to dive into that at all. I might add a lesson on that. But basically the concept is that you could take this scale and then, you know, take your third and your seventh, your guide tone, and then pick any of the notes from this scale. That works. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So basically all you're doing is utilizing notes from the scale to create the chord. All right, so let's move on here and figure out which chordals work. So the first thing that I would suggest you do is just build chordals on each note of the scale. So that's all I'm doing. So literally going up each note of the scale and I'm building a chordal on that note. So notice I'm starting on the C, go up a fourth, go up a fourth. Then I go to the D, go up a fourth, go up a fourth. Go up to the E flat, go up a fourth, go up a fourth. Go up to the F, to the G, to the A, to the B flat, to the C. And what you're looking for is you're looking for the chords that work with the scale. All right, so this one, yep, that works. Yep, that one works. Well, A flat in there, nope, that doesn't work. This, yep. Yeah, let me try and put a little check mark there for you. A little check. Yep, that works. Yep, that works. What about this one? Yes, it works. All right, you might have some conflicting with the B flat there, but let's say it works. What about this one? Nope. And then obviously hitting C again. Okay, so you can see that most of them work. So built on the root, built on the ninth, built on the, what is that, the 11th, built on the 5th, okay, and then maybe built on the 6th as well. All right, but those all work. All right, so now let's build out the Dorian voicings, and let's also use some other chord tones in there. So a lot of times what we will do is, like I said, these voicings will be built in fourths or quartals. All right, so there's your quartal right there. And then notice what I did on top. I added a third. But also notice this. See this right here? So you see how I have that quartal right there. So it's really quartal, quartal, quartal. I should say this, not quartal, sorry. Fourth, 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 third. So the top note here is a third. Could we make it a fourth? Well, sure, but it's not going to work in Dorian, not when in A flat. Okay? So if I hit my C, you can hear great sound. This one, built on the 9th, and then here's the 11th there, and then the 6th, okay? Works great. Again, there's another fourth right in there. Here it is, built on the 11th down here, the quartal, and then coming up, adding in the 5th, and then going up a fourth to the roots. Okay. This, you could also do that as well. I wrote this though. Here it is on the 5th. And then finally on the 6th as well. So here, take a listen to this one. Right? You can hear that it's a little tight, right? A little tense. There's some tension in there. Like I said, this one right here can be the B flat and D, or B flat and E flat. Again, I could just pull notes right out of that Dorian scale. But what I need to pay attention to is I need to pay attention to that tension. Like when I did this one right here, it doesn't really work all that well. Okay? But now what else? Where else could I go with this? See, I could do this. Check this out. Here's my guide tones for C minor, and then building a quartal on the 5th right there. Okay, some other options for you as well. Here's the, right? So you see how I was doing that down here? Also notice though how I'm changing my fingering around, right? So here's this first voicing right here. Let's take a look at this one. I got that one. And then when I did it up here, right? Rather than doing the voicing left hand with the quartal and then the top two notes, instead I just did two notes in the left hand and played a triad. See how that's an E flat major triad in second inversion? And the reason I do that is because sometimes it's easier to move in between these voicings. So you can play around and come up with all different voicings. Now, the trick is, though, when you're playing in a modal tune, listen to what happens if I'm just going to loop the C minor chord here. I'm just going to play over C minor. Listen to what happens when I mix the quartal voicings with more of the rootless voicings or cluster voicings. All right, let's take a listen to that. All quartal. Right, so you hear the difference? So there I'm playing, you know, kind of like a little bit closer, right? You get some clustering going on in there, and it's built in thirds. Third, 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 right? Okay. So nothing wrong with that voicing. Voicing is perfectly fine. But when you start mixing that voicing along with then these more open sounding voicings like that, you might find that you don't like the way that they play together. Right? So you just gotta, you know, kind of think about that. And when you're comping your chords, you also want to think about how the player is playing. You know, are they playing really chromatic or are they playing more pentatonic? If they're doing, then then maybe more of that open sounding, you know, chordals there would sound better. Whereas if they're playing, you know, if they're playing more chromatic and closer and tighter like that, well, then maybe some of these tighter sounding voicings, those more closed voicings, might sound better. Right? So that's really the kind of the difference between open voicings and closed sounding voicings. I wasn't planning on talking about that today, but little bonus for you there, right? So you can kind of think about that as well. These voicings would be considered open sounding voicings, all right? They're spread out usually by fourths. Maybe you could throw some fifths in there. Here are some examples. Like I said, I don't love, all right, this one, okay? And in fact, I'm even going to put in here that don't love this last voicing. See video, all right? So this way you'll know why I don't love it. And again, the reason that I don't really love it is because, hear that tension in there? But I'm putting it in here because I want you to just kind of like play it and recognize it and kind of know when you're creating your own voicings, all right, so how do I avoid this kind of stuff? I could even change it just by changing that A. That doesn't sound as bad. Or change it to that. So a lot of beautiful voicings that you could create with those chordals, and then when you're applying the mode to those chordal voicings, get a really neat sound. All right, so anyway, that's it. I'll see you in the next lesson. To get the first 45 pages of music for free, just go back to jazzpianodaily.com. If you liked the video, please be sure to click the like button and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. To watch the rest of the lessons in this series, just click on the playlist to the right of this arrow. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.